My impressions of this is there is
Don't do that.
Hello and welcome back to Think Build Test. Today we're going to be doing a review on the MCB clutch we installed a couple of years ago. We're going to see if it's ready for dune season and let you know how it's going. But before we break into this clutch, I'm going to show you some video we took this last weekend to give you proof of life, to show you that we're still using this, still riding in it. Before I break this off, this is the kind of riding we're still doing. Let's flip to those clips now. So this is my new traveling partner. This is Nova. You'll be seeing her more around the shop and out on trips and just adventuring with this. This is a Puggle, mix between a Pug and a Beagle, and we're gonna see how she likes riding today. That's not going anywhere. Now that you can see that we're still using this, still drives good, it loads up on the ramp in the trailer good and nice and smooth. We're gonna take this thing apart, we're gonna take the faceplate off, we're gonna look at all the bushings and see how they're wearing. Now, my vehicle is almost at 4,000 miles. My first stock Polaris clutch, it got about 1,200 miles before I had to rebuild the pucks. So then I got another 300 to 400 miles out of those pucks, and then it was time for a new clutch. Then we tried out the mother clutcher clutches. For the last 1,500 miles, I've been running this MCB clutch, and I rode it just like I did the stock one, and I've had no catastrophic issues. One thing I highly recommend if you own a RZR is get yourself a field kit. So out in the field, you may have to replace axles, you may need to replace belts, you may need to replace a clutch. So this is kind of a field kit that I have. If you're gonna be taking clutches on and off, you need an impact wrench. Now, this one, I have a generator I usually have with me or I'm in the shop. So I have a corded one. If you have a battery powered one, that'd work great too. An impact wrench is necessary for clutch changeouts. The next thing you will need is a clutch puller. I have two of these clutch pullers. One is an Eastlake and one is from Mother Clutcher. And I haven't had an issue with either of them. They're both hardened metal, neither of them bend, so they work great. Other things I try to keep in this kit are sizes for bolts for taking the axles out. I have my lug nut key bolt. I've designed this pull hammer for pulling out stuck CV joints, a couple of locking grips, and of course, an assortment of the right impact sockets. The plan is, since this is a pack out, to be able to get it where it locks into the back of my RZR. I still haven't done that yet. I'm still thinking about how I want to do that. You have to have these essentials if you're going to have a side-by-side, because axles, belts, clutches, they're things that'll go out on the trail, and you want to be able to swap it out and keep riding, or at least get back to camp. Okay, so I have my 13/16 socket on a long extension. I should be able to just plug this into my pit and have power ready to go. This puller is going to take a 1-inch. Okay, now that we got this pulled off here, let's take a better look at it in the light. Alright, first impressions is there's not any excessive groove belt marks here. Maybe a slight little pit there. I've seen that on other clutches. Might have been some rocks or grit get in there. Let's just look at the solidness of this. Is it feels shaky? One-way bearing. It's still spinning, not locked up. So far so good. Let's take this faceplate off. So first things first, when you're dealing with these clutches, before you take them apart, this is spring loaded, so you want to clamp the faceplate to the inside of this sheath. There are kits and all thread and washers you can do down here, but that takes way too much time. This isn't that heavy of a spring, so I'll just make sure there's rubber feet pads on these. Get them somewhat 50-50 across. Now you can just pop the springs. No big deal. Nothing to be scared of. This faceplate is what makes MCB supposed to be different. This is a billet design. It's supposed to allow a little more airflow in here and add strength and rigidity. So if you'll notice, MCB's claim to fame on these is that having a larger hole with a larger riding surface will help reduce wobble in this plate. So this is a stock one. This is the MCB. You can see the different sizes on their clutch versus the stock clutch. They have a doubled up sleeve to widen this surface area to make this where hopefully this can't wobble as much. So here's stock on the skinny one. They're saying that riding on this skinny surface could cause more wobble. This isn't as tight as it was brand new, but this has 1,500 miles on it. So the main thing that we're trying to protect are these pucks on the inside. These are the consumable material of the clutch that's made to wear out and protect the aluminum from wearing out so that you could technically rebuild this clutch. What I found with the stock clutch, with the stock pads and the stock configuration, that mine and my hard riding style, they wore out about 1,200 miles and the clutch was already wearing into the aluminum. So we're gonna see if their design has helped prevent these pucks from getting destroyed, to see if the aluminum looks better. So I'm not gonna take the spider loose on this, but we're able to inspect these parts and inspect these weights. That's mainly what we need to see today. So here's the aluminum towers where these pucks ride. This was the stock Polaris that I did, and it's hard to show up on the camera, but there's a deep groove where these pucks have been riding. Some of the puck rebuild kits I have, the pucks were too hard, so their pucks have cracked and blown up. That's a big deal, is the quality of the pucks also are going to indicate whether or not we have a good product. So this one, you can see the cracked pucks, but that was because the whole assembly was just getting loose, and just once you rebuild it once, the parts aren't as tight anymore. Now that we've seen that pucks can crack, let's take a look at these pucks. I didn't see any cracks in these pucks, so that's really good news. That means that they've put their research into it. These pucks are doing great. The next thing is the weight fingers. If this is getting caught sliding, there will be a groove in the roundness. So let's take a look and see if we can see in there how they look. This one looks pretty good. That one looks good. This one looks good. Also, another thing is the internals of these will get worn out and it'll cause them to rock back and forth. So let's look at that. Still tight. Still tight. Still tight. Let me show you a bad example of these. This is off my original stock clutch, and when these parts wear out and they stick, they'll create this groove. That's what we're looking for here for roundness. And then this inside bushing, this will wear out. These aftermarket ones I bought, these wear out. And the ridiculous thing is, they want to charge you $15 for each set of these from the aftermarket to replace these. That's insane. That's a 20-cent bushing. My impressions of this is there is no major damage of this. I can put this together, blow it out, clean it back up, and put it back on the RZR, and I can ride it this season, and I feel like I have confidence to be able to do that. Let's talk about the value of this. If you're to buy a stock Polaris RZR clutch, it's going to be around $400 for the casting and around $300 for the internal rebuild. And then you're also going to have the tools to be able to rebuild it, tighten it, and hope that you did it correctly. At the time that I bought this, MCB was selling this completely ready to go with springs and weights adjusted for my big tires for around $400. So that got me my custom setup and their additional technology they added in this for $100 more than what you can get a Mother Clutcher or another cheap brand. Now this is where the value part comes in. I've been able to use this as my primary dune riding, rock climbing clutch. Like as if it was stock, ready to go, as this was designed to be used. The Mother Clutcher is $300 and the manufacturer is saying that he's improving on them with every lot, making them better and better, and claims to have similar manufacturer for the casting as this, but I can't validate that and I can't pass that on to you in good faith. Now, I do think that having a Mother Clutcher as a backup to get you back to camp is probably a great option, because if a clutch detonates for whatever reason, you need to get back from the trail to camp, loaded on the trailer, all those things. That would be a great option because it's affordable to be able to do that. Now, secondarily is your riding style. There's going to be a lot of people who make claims that they ride hard, but if you're mountain riding, it is not hard on a clutch. It's the stop and go and high RPM, slamming on it to get out of dune holes and climbing hills, or mud bogging, or rock climbing where you have to bump over the ledges, where there's instant bursts where those clutches have to come together hard, or the belts just got lots of heat from 100-degree weather. That's hard riding. Mountain trail riding is hard for a pickup truck, but not for a RZR. Some of you may be wondering if I'm sponsored for this video. So far, I have paid for all of the clutches I've put on this RZR by myself. Now that being said, because of you, the viewers, you have told MCB that you came to them because of my first video. So we got into contact and they were gonna send me their new clutch to try. But I said this, I said, how about when this clutch runs out, I'll contact you for the new one, because this one's still working. My viewers need to know how long the original one is gonna last. So this is it. This is the original one. It's got about 1,500 miles. So with that said, if it works out good, MCB and myself may work together in the future. Keep an eye on the description of this video and the comments, and I'll let you know how that's going. And if there's a link, we'll make sure that we provide that for you too. So I'm gonna throw this thing back together. I'm gonna put it on the RZR. Let us know in the comments, have you bought an MCB and what is your impression of these and other discount clutches? So let's put this back on the machine and let's see how it looks spinning on the shaft. Now, there's one thing I wanted to mention is that this secondary was given to me as a warranty item from Mother Clutcher. So it's working good, but this is a lot less technical product. It's probably a great product to buy from both or multiple manufacturers. It does not spin near as fast or have the force of the primary. A little thing I like to do to try and quiet these down is put a little bit of Teflon dry lube on them. It may not last, but it might keep it from squeaking a little longer. Because it's a dry lube, the dust won't collect on it. Finish it off by cleaning the sheaths with an alcohol or a brake cleaner. takes any grease off. I've also been having really good luck with the G-Boost World's Best Belt. It's cheaper than a stock, and I think it lasts longer than a stock, and it hooks up pretty good on the rocks. The nice thing about taking the primary out is the belt is easier to get back on. Make sure that your clutch is seated on the tapered shaft, nice and square. Make sure it's not off at all, because you can tighten them and have them be off center. Put a little oil on the threads for the bolt. This one still has some on it, so that'll keep it from seizing. Run the bolt in finger tight first. Now, I don't like putting anything in the arms of the Spider because you can damage that aluminum casting, so I have kind of a calibrated feel for my impact driver. I'll usually do 2 or 3 hits with the impact, short bursts, and that's served me well in the past. Let's run this up to speed and see how it looks. That felt really smooth, so let's put this back together. If you like this product, check for a link in the descriptions, and we'll put one there for you to find MCB. And if you like this video, be sure to like, subscribe. We got lots of projects on the channel. You saw the pit that we have that we used. I built that custom by hand. Thanks to all of our supporters who've given us a shout out to the manufacturer. We appreciate all your help as a small business, and we will see you on the next video. Thanks, YouTube.